Hi. In this video, we're going to look at whether you can change water into wine. So here I have a glass of wine, and I'm going to transform that into water, and other way around. I'm going to fill here water, and the water will become wine. So let me fill that all the way up to the top, and then I'm going to put this plate on top of my water, and then I'm going to flip it over, put it on the wine glass, and then basically just make a small opening. Let me turn it so we can see it, and we're going to make a small opening. So what you see is the wine starting to flow into the water glass. So the flipping over can be a little tricky, and as you'll see here, so this is sort of a missed flipping over where I lost a lot of water, so that happens too. You see the wine is starting to accumulate on the top, and now we're just going to wait for some time. We're at an intermediate step. We see that there's already more wine on the top, and if you look at the bottom of the wine glass, we see that actually the water is accumulating at the bottom of it. Now we're looking at the situation where roughly half of the wine got transferred into the top glass.
Wow!
See that the top glass is pretty much full of wine, while the bottom glass is mostly water. And so we managed to transfer all of the wine from the bottom to the top. So now, as you can see, pretty much all of the wine is on the top glass. So I'm gonna take out off the glass, and we're gonna try our wine, which used to be water, and see if it is actually. So this is our wine, and let's try it. And indeed, it is mostly wine, although it's not the most pure wine. And this is our water glass, which is mostly water. And so to check if it's indeed water, we can see if our small kitty likes to drink it, try it, but she doesn't seem to like it. So it's probably too much wine in it. What do you think, little kitty? Do you agree? Yeah, a little bit too much wine. Okay. This shows the different densities of different types of wine. So this is just a list of uh, Quebec or local wine you can find here in Montreal. Not necessarily the best wine, but you see that typically there's the density is slightly below 1, so it's 0.98 for most of these wines, and the alcohol content sort of varies between 8% and a maximum of 12%, depending which one it is. And so it's really, the more alcohol you have, in principle, the lower the density you get. So this small difference in density between the wine, which is 0.98, and water, which is 1, is actually enough to, when you have actually the wine on the bottom glass and the water on the top, because the water for the same volume is slightly heavier, the water will start going down while the wine will go up into the upper glass. And that really, and one has to be careful to let only a very small sort of filament of wine going up or water going down, because if you close them together and mix them, they will mix quite well. And so you want to try to avoid mixing actually the wine and water, and then you get a density which is sort of halfway between water and wine. So this is really how this works. And so now let's look at sort of other possible use of that density. So here we're going to do a little bit of a layering of the liquids. So I'm going to start with Marais Brizard, Sirop de Canne. So this is kind of a liquor, very sugary, like a cane syrup, and it's quite dense. Then I'm going to put a little bit of red wine. So I'm going to So now I have a layer of red wine on top. And then to finish, I'm going to put a little bit of absinthe. So this is a very strong alcohol. Okay. So now the coloring, because of the red, is hard to see. So let's zoom in a little bit. So you can kind of see a very light color green on top, and that's absinthe. It's not a very strong color. It doesn't contrast that strongly with the wine. How strong it is. I'm going to light it on, and you see that there's a nice flame. So let me turn off the light. And we can see sort of it nicely burning. Something you can see in this slide where there's a plot here of the density as a function of alcohol content. So clearly what happens is that when you increase the alcohol in your solution, then the density will basically start decreasing. And so if you take wine is roughly at 12%, so it's kind of in this area. Another alcohol we're going to look at is absinthe, which is a very high alcohol. This is something like 70%. And then, you have a whole bunch of other alcohols which are kind of in between. In this slide, we have a list of different liquors and which with their sort of corresponding densities. And, popular liquors are, let's say, crème de cassis or grenadine, and they have very high density. That is one of the highest densities. And so when you mix sort of different alcohols and you're trying to make these layers, then those those are for the same volume are going to be quite a bit heavier. And then you can sort of go higher up, and then you get close to water, and water has a density of 1. And then if you go to very sort of higher alcohol concentration, like absinthe, which is 70% alcohol, you get a density of, let's say, 0.89. And wine, we said, is somewhere sort of in this region here, 0.98. So if you mix, for example, some cream, you could put the cream on the bottom, add some wine on top of that, and then finish with some absinthe. And this is sort of the layered cocktail we are showing in the video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed seeing these different tricks you can do with alcohol densities. Thank you.